So let's call this my beta Druid setup on the beta server. I don't have a level 125 Druid. I certainly don't have a max AA level 125 Druid. But since I'm on the beta server, it was easy enough to create one. And I wanted to come up with a setup on how I would run a 125 Druid. The problems with this is, one, I have not generally played a Druid at all in my EverQuest career, except for very occasionally, very sporadically. I had a very good friend who I grouped with for many years who played Druid and Ranger. Those were his two classes, and I never played those classes. He's passed on now, and I am introducing myself to the Druid. They heal very differently than the Cleric. Cleric's a direct healer. The Druid is mostly an indirect healer, or let's say ideally an indirect healer. You're going to heal through your nukes, Blessing of Row, etc. So you want to set up where you can switch quickly to the tank if you need to do direct heals, but otherwise you want to target as much as possible the mob that you're going to be nuking and dotting down. So when I first started to do the setup, I put out 11 hotbars. I put everything in the kitchen sink that a Druid had there, and it took me a long time to figure out how to organize this material from the perspective of someone who is not an expert in Druids, but who boxes. So if I'm going to be playing a Druid, it's going to be playing a Druid usually boxing a tank or, my Necromancer. In this case, I'm pairing it with a Warrior. And that's interesting because a Warrior needs a lot more heals than a Shadow Knight. The Shadow Knight can do all of its self-heals. So let me introduce you to my setup. Key spell-wise, I have my basic spell line. You will have all of these spells pretty much. Twin Cast, Resuscitation, Adrenaline Fury, Lunacia, Survival of the Heroic, Dots, Nature Boiling Wrath, Horde of Horteria, Chill of the Femtender, Viva Vita, Ecliptic Winds, Remote Sunscorch, Tempest Roar, Chitlin of the Reptile, and Arboreal Atonement. These bottom spells may get switched out. I may take out Ecliptic because it is a lot of mana, but this is a healing-focused build that does also some really decent damage. My number one, just melee attack. As a Druid, I've got the two-handed out there with Arms of Holy Wrath, which decreases hit points and heals the group in return. So you definitely want to be smacking the mob as a Druid if you can. Get in close and get some of those healing procs, because you're going to try as much as possible to do your healing through indirect heals, through nuke heals, bash heals, AA heals, etc. So melee attack, silent casting, improved twin cast. I have a burn key right now. I have not extensively tested these. I'm slowly working in the Chamber of Power, which is one of the new zones. There's actually a different word for it, but I can't pronounce it. I think that's no surprise to people listening to me. I can't pronounce words very well. It's this big cave where you've got kind of pinkish cave that's got rippling movement there. Let's see. Let's camo up a little bit so you can see this is the new zone. And these are the mobs I've been killing to work on my mercenary quests in this particular zone. I could show you the map. It's not a huge zone. So this is a Druid. I'm doing this with my Warrior. Come up here, a few dead people. This is on the beta. So these are my burn keys. Again, I'm putting them together. I'm using them to do fairly easy because, again, I'm going to be boxing. I don't want to be spending a lot of time. I have to switch back. Nature's Fury, direct conflagration, which is good. We love those remote nukes. Okay, Group Wolf. Group Wolf, you want to have up 100%, or you want to have Wolf up 100% of the time. Group Wolf lasts 4 minutes. It has a 7.5 minute refresh. So 50% of the time, your group can be Wolf form, and that gives extra chance to crit, extra chance to heal, crit heal. It's great. Now, I have this timer, and after 4 minutes, it will pop up. When that pops up, I know to hit single wolf. So I can 100% of the time have that buff on me that gives me 14% extra crit on my damage and 14 extra chance on my spells, my heals. So when this pops up, it tells me to pop this one. When the single pops, I pop the group. It's just back and forth, every 4 minutes. I have not figured out a way to do it any better than that. Spell buffs. These are the kind of buffs, the long-term buffs that as a druid you're going to want to put on. So I would hit that. I now mem my spell buff line up, which is over here. Where are my spells? Oh, here they are. Okay, so, and then it's going to cast. So it casts Symbol. It'll cast my aura. You want to have that aura up all the time. That gives you extra damage. It's definitely good. Once it's cast all the various buffs, it rememorizes my standard druid lineup. That's spell buffs. Then I have the normal kind of buffy buffs that a druid is just going to want to put on themselves. Communion of the Cheetah probably should come out. I can't see any reason to put that in my buff lineup, but I wanted to put it somewhere. And then buff other. That would be for buffing my tank. In this case, target Quard. And then it would go through these buffs that I want to put on the tank. Buff other. You can see what I've got here. Veil of the Underbrush. That's my escape. I always use number pad negative as my escape key. My warrior's escape. Everybody puts it there. I always use the number pad 0 key as my in camo key. So, to invis. So that's the first keypad. This is the number pad keypad. Over here, 1 is an attack key. It's going to go X target 1. And then it will assist the group, and it'll assist the raid, and then it'll assist Quard. Basically, this is just a belt and suspenders approach. If there is no Quard, it'll once it's assisted somebody, it stops there. And so it won't switch. But if there is a group assist, a raid assist, a Quard assist, then you can do that. Otherwise, I just go with X target 1. And then it pops Blessing of Ro on those. You want Blessing of Ro on all the time. It refreshes every 6 seconds. It gives extra heals. It's a wonderful AA. You definitely want that working. Then I debuff the mob. Hit 2. So this is the keyboard 1, 2, and Blessing of Ro. Again, I want to use that as much as possible. Season's Wrath, Vortex of Ro, and then cast 14, which would be putting a group Arboreal Atonement on, which basically allows your various nukes for your group to do heals. And as a cleric, you want to get healing. As a druid, you want healing from every source possible because you don't want to depend on direct heals because your direct heals mildly suck. They're not as good or as strong as they could be. There'd be ways to beef them up, but you're not a cleric. You're not even a shaman. You're a druid, and the way druids heal is through indirect approaches, and they've got, once you get all of your indirect approaches going, you're going to be doing a lot of heals. So this is to debuff the mob. Boom. That's what that key is to do. Now, ideally, you split all this stuff up, you know where it is, you're efficient, but I'm not being efficient. I'm being a boxer. And that means I'm playing 2 characters at once, sometimes even 3 if I've got a bard in the group. And so I want to be able to hit something and move on. And then right now, 3 and 4 are my tank buffs that I like to pop those on. As I said, this would be 14, but in the beta server, you can now have a 14th spell, but that 14th spell is bugged and it only recognizes casts 1 through 13. So there you are. Group heal, I do cast 4, which is Lunacia, and then I would cast 5, Survival of the Heroic. If that's down, it goes to Wild Thunder Survival. If that's down, it goes to Blessing of Tanari. These kind of staggered work because all of them have a cast time. If they had no cast time, they would just go off, and I would use them all at once, so I'd have to stagger them out. Spirit of Wood, Nature's Boon. These are like heal over times. Radiant Cure, Purified Cure, Group Cheetah. Then over here is my direct. If I hit the Y key, I'm casting 2, 3, or 9, which is Viva Vita. And so what I do is I hit that, it targets my tank, it casts a heal, and then it retargets, it assists the tank and retargets the mob that we've been on. So we're on the actual tank as little as possible, and I just hit this whenever I needed a heal. And whichever one's up, it'll go to that. Because it'll go 2, 3, 9, 9, 2, 3, 9, 9, because that's sort of the rotation. And 2, 3 is resuscitation, adrenaline, Vita, blah, blah, blah. Over here is the same thing, target chord, and then these are some more heals and a cast 9 Viva Vita. And then it assists back to the mob. So these are just Y and U. These are my direct heals. I don't want to be using my direct heals. If I can avoid using my direct heals, I'm playing a druid better than I should be. This is, let's inspect that. Chitin of the Reptile. So I've got it in 2 places, here and here. As I said, this setup is my beta setup. I'm testing it. It's going to change. Auto. This is mainly if you're raiding or you have preset people you're healing out of group. This is group. It sets roles for whoever is your, you decide who's the group leader, who is the group puller, whatever. You can do your roles here. This is a raid setup here. Again, not raiding, except sporadically. Dire Charm, Tranquil Blessing, Mass Group Buff. Teleport, the shared camo, innate camo, intensity. My reses, Force Rejuve, Nature's Fury, which increased the damage of your direct spells. Let's take that off because I have moved it. I'm slowly moving my burn stuff up here. So that's where that is. Wail of the Wind. These are crowd control, Paralytic Spore. And I have Paralytic Spores here because I have it tended to an F key. That's a single mob. If I want to boot a single mob in the group, I'll target it, hit F. So that's that. Then we come over to Nature's Boon, or Nature's Bolt. Okay, this is my mash line. I hit P, all of this stuff is going off here. All of this stuff is going off. This won't go off because it's under the F line. So this is my mash line right now. And then, if I'm not boxing, if I'm on here, I will manually. These are twin cast. You want to do that whenever it's up, and then Eclectic Winds, a nuke heal. This is another remote heal, nuke heal. This is a nuke stun. So these are sort of my lineup that I'm going to be doing a lot of. And then these are my 3 big dots, which will just hit my mana hard. I'm in group gear. So but because I'm boxing, I have this set up where I can just hit this key and it will go through these nuke heals and nuke stuns. Or if I want to just do lay my dots out, then it'll lay out the 3 dots. I have blessing a row because that refreshes every 6 seconds, and I want to be putting that on as much as possible. So this is my initial Druid setup. I have been playing it. It seems to be working. I'm slowly adjusting. My ultimate goal is to have 6 bars, no more, no less. It's because I play a lot of different classes. I don't change my what triggers what a lot. Oh, I should add one other thing. So speaking of, how do I get off my spells? Go back to W, hit here. So this is spell casting. So K, I can hit boom boom. I can hit these individually, or I can just do K, and it will cast whichever spell is up here. So these are my K spells. The J spells are my group heals. I need a quick group heal. I hit J, and I can hit that twice. I've got 2 group heals lined up, and I actually have a 3rd one, but that's triggered this way. So I do have a lot of my spells bound, so I can cast and do things whatever is the most convenient at the time. Here's my Druid. It is in beta gear. As you say, I'm slowly accumulating junk. This is I believe, tier 2 group gear. The names will probably change. The stats may well change. All of this stuff is just beta. That's it. Very quick introduction to my Druid setup. I'll talk to you guys later.